Today we're going to be diving into 10 more of Reddit's juiciest confessions. No introduction needed, let's just go ahead and get started. I put fish tank water in her coffee maker. When I was in college, I had the worst roommate ever. No respect for privacy, noise, or my food in the fridge. What had really tipped the iceberg for me was the day she started yelling at me for the way our room smelled. Told me I needed to be showering at least once a day. I wasn't the problem. It was her stupid microwave meals that made our place smell like shit. I didn't have enough balls back then to tell her to fuck off, so what did I do? The next time I had to clean out the water from my beta fish tank, I dumped the semi-gross water into her fancy Keurig coffee maker. She made coffee in that thing for the next week until I moved out. I have no regrets. And if by some miracle she's reading this, fuck you, Riki. Hilarious prank. The title of this one is just Jumped the Queue, Mistaken for a Disabled Child. I'm 26 now, but when I was a young lad, I, along with my brother and younger sister, were taken to Disneyland, Florida by my dad and his wife. Before making the once-in-a-lifetime journey from England, my dad did a little research about the attractions and rides. As it happened, I was just over an inch too short for the bigger and better rides. This being a once-in-a-childhood type of trip, my dad and I agreed we should try to make the most of it and somehow ride the best rides. A few days after realizing I was too short, which was pretty upsetting to 10-year-old me, my dad called me up into his home office. He had a tape measure and some Jenga blocks in his hands. I grabbed my shoes and put a few blocks in each and measured myself. I was over the height restriction for the good rides. I was over the moon. When we packed our suitcases for the flight from Manchester to Florida, I made sure to add a good 20 Jenga blocks in my suitcase. First day in the Magic Kingdom, I wanted to ride, if I remember correctly, the Indiana Jones roller coaster. My dad and I went to the restroom just before the roller coaster and added a few blocks to each shoe. A slight hiccup in the master plan revealed itself and I limped out of the restroom. I hadn't tried to walk on top of these Jenga blocks back in England. I just stood on them. At best, they made me look like I had shit myself, and at worst, they made me look like I had a physical disability. We already had fast passes to the ride, so as we were walking up the fast pass queue, a member of the staff noticed my limp and asked kindly if I wanted to go right up to the front. A green, wet, behind the ears 10-year-old me of course agreed and went straight to the front. I passed the height test and enjoyed the ride. This happened a few more times at other rides and parks. It was only a few years later that I realized they only let me to the front of the queue because they thought that I had a disability. My dad must have known but still allowed it. Regardless, it was an amazing vacation. Best 2 weeks of my young childhood life. Too long didn't read. My dad put Jenga blocks in my shoes to make me taller for the good rides at Disney World. The blocks also made me limp, and Disney employees took me to the front of the queue more than once believing I had a physical disability. Heck of a story, that one. I installed TeamViewer on our class's computer and used it to play videos when my classmates were in the middle of their presentation. Back in high school, we had a computer in every classroom, along with a projector, which we used for giving presentations. Well, I installed TeamViewer on the computer and waited for my opportunity. So when a group of girls were giving their presentation, I went into a site and played a video for the whole class, which everyone saw through the projector. The whole class was laughing out loud. The teacher had no idea what to do, since it was clear that the girls hadn't done it. The headmaster took all the male students apart and threatened to suspend all of us if the author didn't turn himself in. However, as I hadn't told anyone, I just played the fool and got away with it.
Fuck Microsoft!
I was the school phantom shitter. If I had let this secret out during its time, I would have been mortified, crucified, and full of shame. However, I now laugh at it and tell the story. I was always a pretty normal kid. I was in 9th grade and my best friend Ian and I did this cross-country thing together. It was a rainy day, so the coach had us run on the indoor track in circles. We both looked at each other and said, I gotta take a dump. We snuck away from practice and went to the locker room. Ian got in the first stall and the other stall had some sort of hellish stain going on in there, which no one would dare use, even in an emergency. So you know that one pair of shoes in the locker room that have been there forever and nobody had ever claimed, nor have they ever moved in what seems like an eternity? Well, I just had to My 14 or 15-year-old self also thought it would be hilarious to show him the massive dump I was about to produce in a shoe because, you know, teenage boys are stupid and have that kind of humor. I proceed to open the tongue of the shoe and drop the single fattest, longest turd into these mid-top Nikes. He comes out... Reading this is hilarious. Oh, he comes out and I have this eating grin. I told him to go over where the shoes were and he goes, "Oh, dude, gross, that's sick." We had our laughs and returned to practice and never thought anything of it. However, the next day there was a bit of commotion in the gym class in the second period. The locker room reeked of doo-doo. People were frantically looking, but nobody could find the source. Then Jeremy comes in and yells, "Meg, someone in my shoe!" For the rest of the day, everyone was looking for the phantom wondering who did it. Ian and I kept our mouths shut, and to this day, nobody has ever found out who took a in Jeremy's shoes. I've moved since then several times, so whoever I tell this to has no connection to my old high school. Edit, yes, I wiped. Edit, yes, I wiped. I did not know they belonged to Jeremiah or whoever else. Edit number 2, rip inbox. My highest voted post is about to be pooping in a shoe. Okay, sick. We had a similar situation at our high school. Wonder if it was this guy.
Disgusting!
Oh, that's nasty.
I had to steal my family's VHS player after a movie got stuck in it. When I was 14, I found my dad's stash of magazines and VHS movies. I played one of the movies. After watching it, I couldn't get the cassette out. It was stuck. I tried everything, including a knife and a hammer for some reason. In a panic state, since my parents were coming home from work soon, I ended up stuffing it in my backpack, going out of the house with it, and dumping it in a field near my house. My parents must have noticed the movie gone with the VHS player. They never asked about it.
Lad, are you dumb? Are you getting rude to man? That's what you get, fam. Whose end are you coming to now, fam?
I slapped someone across the face and blamed it on a tick. I have Tourette's syndrome, and my class and teachers know. My school is pretty diverse and generally very accepting, but you know, you always have some narrow-minded jerks. At the beginning of the year, I was in math class, and this dude was making these really homophobic and just plain disgusting comments to his friend about this girl in our class who was a proud lesbian. Anyway, they were making these comments, and some of the ones I remember were, I bet I could f her and turn that bitch straight. I bet her pussy is so tight. She probably dates girls because no guy would fuck that whale body, and a ton of just horrible comments. The poor girl was so close to tears, and her girlfriend was watching the whole thing and wasn't doing anything. Even the teacher was ignoring it. So I threw my pen across the room as if it was a tick and stood up to go get it. As I walked past the asshole 1 and 2, I made a similar sound to what I make when I tick and slapped this dude across the face. I immediately started apologizing and making my eyes water. I act a lot, so I know how to cry on demand. He was pissed, but he stopped bothering the girl, and afterwards, the girl came up to me and thanked me. I played dumb and she left. Her and her girlfriend broke up a few days later. Edit, please keep the slurs to yourself in the comments. I don't want them, neither does anybody else. Guys, we gotta be chilling those Reddit comments. Come on. I faked a shellfish allergy to get out of work early. I'm an 18 male, and I was serving at an Olive Garden at the time. My managers know that I have shellfish allergies, and I serve many tables who order seafood. One day we were super busy, and I felt like shit, and I wanted to just go home. I ended up purposefully touching a piece of shrimp to make me break out, but not cause my throat to swell up. I told my manager I must have gotten seafood on me, and insisted I must leave to go get medicine. They were all worried and let me leave. I drove home feeling like a high schooler hooking up with a hot girl for the first time. I got home and spiked a bowl and watched some Rick and Morty. I feel ashamed, but I would without a doubt do it again.
My house isn't for sale. You gotta get out of here, seriously. Oh, I didn't realize you were chill like that. Sell whatever you want.
I fed my boyfriend and his friends dog food. I was in high school and it was the late 80s. I was emancipated already, so I had my own apartment. I also had pay channels because the landlord had a package deal that included my TV. A guy started really hitting on me, whom I really rather liked. It didn't dawn on me that he had only started doing so after I got my own apartment, which meant time away from his restrictive home environment for him. Well, he started spending time at my house, and then he started bringing his friends to watch pay channels with him and ignoring me. The first time they ate my food, I had cooked myself some crock-pot chili for the entire week. It was literally all my meals for the week to be divided up into the freezer and eaten as I needed. I asked nicely for them not to do it again and explained clearly that it was all my food for the week. They did it again the next weekend when I made myself lasagna, and this time I yelled at them. My erstwhile boyfriend then slapped me and told me to knock it off. I was interrupting their show, you know. I was rather outraged that not one guy, not so much as one, batted an eye about it. Instead of breaking up with him immediately though, I hatched a plot. I bought 2 cans of Apollo wet dog food and a bag of egg noodles. I made goulash with it in the crock pot and let them eat it. After that, I brought the landlord's dog to clean up. I carefully let them lick each and every bowl, because of course they didn't want to wash their dishes after they stole my food either. I placed them into the cabinet as nonchalantly as I could, pretending this was how I always did the dishes. I then answered their question about what was the recipe of my delicious food, and placed the 2 cans of open Apollo dog food on the table. Needless to say, they never came back. I took great relish in spreading it around the school that they not only ate literal dog food, but that they loved it enough to want the recipe. I like that story. That's good karma. I think they got what they deserved on that one.
Get it, girl. Get it, girl. Take her to the flow. Show her how you roll. Drop it low.
Drop it. Drop it.
Whoa, what kind of mood is that?
I got mad that I was falsely accused of talking in the 4th grade, so I put a push pin on the timeout chair. In 4th grade, my friends were talking at the table and my teacher called me out for it. He sent me to the timeout chair in the back and I was infuriated. Of course he would blame the black kid. LOL, seriously though, I was off and I grabbed one of those gray push pins with the round back and placed it on the chair. I went to the bathroom after putting it down, not really thinking about what I've done. While walking back to the classroom in the hallways, I hear "ugh" coming from my classroom. Almost sounded like Arnold Schwarzenegger moaning. I walk in to see him rubbing his ass and giving a long speech about how disrespectful the class has become. His face was red and he left the room. I asked my friends and I guess he sat down while moving to the back of the class to talk to a student. Mr. H, if you're reading this, I'm so sorry. I steal my housemate's food and nobody suspects me because they think I'm a vegan. I was a vegan when we started living together, but I gave up on that since then and I started stealing anything I can get my hands on. They never suspect me because they think I wouldn't eat those items. Never been even close to being caught. I always make sure to cook when nobody's home or hide the packaging and wrappers in my trash. It's more about the fact that I can do it without consequences that makes me do it. Nobody complained about the missing food items more than a couple of times, so I don't think I'm that much of a nuisance. Edit, just wanted to clarify a few things. I don't lie about being vegan. Other people in my life know I'm not a vegan anymore, and I don't lie or hide this fact from anyone. The people I live with are never really around to socialize, so they've never had the chance to find out about it. Also, if they ever said something about being upset or in a really bad situation because of my actions, I would definitely stop. My reasoning is that I don't take a lot, and what I do take is probably gonna go to waste anyway. This is no way of me trying to get away. This is like missing words. This is in no way me trying to get away from the fact that what I'm doing is wrong. I know I shouldn't be doing it, but it's a bit of an addiction.
Crazy? That shit is so disrespectful. So disrespectful. That shit got me so hot.
If you made it through that, thank you so much for watching. I got some positive feedback on the last video, so if you like this one too, I'll do it again. Maybe we can venture out from r/confessions, go check out some other subreddits. Let me know down in the comments, and please hit that subscribe button. We're really trying to get to 500. Thank you so much. Have a good one.